Welcome, everyone. This is Planet Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi!
Sans Winda,
Hello.
Werendis,
Hello, everyone.
Erendis.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone. And tonight we have a little bit of news to discuss, and we are going to begin with the start of the Tournament of the Twins, which started this week.
Yay.
I know, super enthused about this. Anyone here actually enter into the Bombadil server? And
I created a character so that I have my name, but I didn't actually log in my character yet. That's as far as I got.
And apparently that's as far as anyone in this group's gotten, because I didn't hear anyone else jump up and down and say that they went and created a character.
I plan on it. I just not have had a chance yet. So I think I promised a week or two ago when this was kind of first mentioned that I would be doing some homework and researching. So it will happen. It just hasn't happened.
Yes, and along with this, there is a post giving the details on this. Some of the details, of course, we already announced a while back. At level 10, you approach either of the two sons of Elrond, who are present in both Breetown and Gondaman, and you can join their faction for accepting quests. Once you accepted a quest from one of the twins, you will be able to engage in combat with members of the opposing faction. You will gain honor by completing deeds throughout Eriador. Please note that in this one, your main goal is to gain honor by completing deeds. Your main goal isn't to go around ganking people or anything like this. It is just, of course, that if that deters the other side.
Say it loudly for the people in the back.
That's exactly what's going to happen. So,
Of course. It's like open world PvP, so you can be sure that trying your best to stop the opposing well, ostensibly it's to keep the opposing faction to slow them down in gaining their deeds so that your faction could gain deeds faster. But yes, some will of course be playing it just because what open world PvP? Woohoo!
Are any deeds actually fast, though? Do they have new deeds that are faster? I must check this out.
No, they're the same ones.
Yeah. Essentially, each Eriador deed completed grants 100 points of honor, which is tracked on our leaderboard. Use the Register of Heroes to view the current leaderboard. Deeds completed prior to accepting a quest from Eladon and Elrohir or not in the Eriador category will not count towards this score.
Now, Cordervin made it clear on Stream Friday, you don't get points for slaying or defeating the other side. All you're doing is, impeding them from completing the task. So don't think going in and just killing a whole bunch of people is going to get you some kind of glory or title.
Right. You don't earn. This isn't the Moors where you get it for killing the other side or anything like that.
I might have to rethink my idea of rolling a character. I hate deeding.
Yes, if you don't like deeding, that's going to be a bit of a problem. Once you're engaged in the quest of honor, your safe zones from members of the opposing faction are in Breetown, Gondaman, Rivendell, Mickledelving, Glowing's Camp, Auchare, Tinandir, Gothforthnier, Ostguruth, and Ulthrinkar. Alright, a lot of them I could understand. I was a little bit surprised to see Glowing's Camp in the list. And Ulthrinkar, I'm really puzzled by that one.
well, they're quest turn-ins, so at least you can get your quest turned in.
Yeah, okay, I guess you got a point there.
Without somebody coming up behind you and stabbing you in the back.
You've got a point there. That's probably the reason is because these are places that have the most quest turn-ins. Good point there. So now that also solves the question of Glowing's Camp also, because that is also a significant quest hub. You notice though it has Glowing's Camp, but it doesn't have some of the more minor quest hubs, such as the pass that connects to Glowing's Camp, the other ones in the Misty Mountains. So keep that in mind, that some of those quest turn-in points can be a little challenging in there. There may be someone lurking in there to stab you in the back and send you back to the red circle temporarily. Characters who are defeated will get a short stealth and haste buff that will allow them to get back into the battle. In other words, the object is to deter respawn camping, red circle camping, because if someone's camping there and they're able to do it and you didn't have a stealth buff or anything like that, yeah, you'll never get out of the red circle once you got there.
That would be so annoying.
Yeah, it would be. During this event, you cannot gain experience points in any instance after level 10. This includes Instance Finder and Quest instances.
What instances do you have before level 10 besides the starter instance?
The only ones I can think of were, well, there's a gift from the north, and of course, various prologue instances are the only ones I can think of.
Okay, just checking.
And this event is focused in Eriador with a level cap of 50. And this server is available to VIP subscribers from June 17th through the 14th. Find Bombadil in the game launcher when the world is available. And please note, concerning the name, because there are some people who are complaining about the name of the server, the idea of the name is that Bombadil will be a special rules server, and it doesn't quite follow the exact rules of the other servers. So that's why they decided to call it Bombadil. And in this instance, it's a PvP server, but in other instances, there could be other items that will be events that will be run on that server. Note, rewards are unlocked for your account once a certain honor score is reached. Remember, you get 100 points per deed, so 2,500 points, or I guess that would be 25 deeds. Elrohir Tournament of the Twins, Team Elrohir's Cloak, and of course there is the same thing for Eladon's team. For 5,000, Honorable Contender title, 7,500. Tournament Contenders Frame, 10,000 points. Herald of Rivendell title, 12,500 points. Tournament Gladiators Frame, 15,000 points. Favored of Elrond's title, 17,500 points. Tournament Heroes Frame, 20,000 points. Champion of Rivendell title, and 22,500 points. Exalted Champion of Rivendell title. Like I'm ever going to use any of these titles.
None of those things make me actually want to log on there and do this.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not inspired to do 225 deeds on no, sorry. I mean, the cloak looks cool, but that's only 25 deeds. It might happen. 225?
Yes, that's... Yes, that's... I could just imagine someone going through Heirloom, doing their best not to kill that last goblin or wolf for the deed so that they could have that deed ready to complete when they hit level 10 and join a faction. And at the end of the event, at the end of the Tournament of the Twins, players will be able to transfer their characters and shared items for free to any of the non-legendary game worlds. Please note that standard restrictions and procedures apply when transferring from Bombadil. Note that when the Tournament of the Twins is over and players have had an opportunity to transfer off the server will have a complete database wipe prior to future events. each event is going to be individual, starting from scratch. That is the thing to note on this. I know some people were complaining about this because they said, what do you mean you're going to wipe the characters for all the work that I do? That's how special event servers work. That's the way it works, yes.
I mean, I guess at least they're letting us keep them. So if you do all 225 deeds and have really awesome virtues and stuff, you can be a really awesome level 50 character on the server of your choice.
Yes. And note that they wrote this, that the server is implemented in such a way that it will be able to transfer to either the Europe or the US server, so to one or the other. So it doesn't have the same problem that the older servers have in not being able to transfer to the other two. So that will work on there. So those are the details on the Tournament of the Twins. And yes, I would say there's about a 10% chance of me going on there and seeing if I can get a cloak, and a 0% chance of me bothering anywhere past that.
There's a 0% chance of me logging in a character. So once again, if you happen to see somebody named Terry Adwin, it is not me. I'm not even reserving the name because I really don't even care.
Another thing that's been said, though, it almost feels like this would be something that would be really good to do in a group. That way the dating would go a lot quicker, and you would almost have some backup, if you will, if you did get jumped by someone of the opposite faction. So I don't know. I think there's some opportunity for it to be fun if you're into that.
Oh yes, apparently I have heard that there are already several kinships for each of the factions.
Why?
Well, one of the reasons is because they want to make sure that members of the appropriate faction are the only ones who could read a chat or something like that. So that's one potential reason.
So World Chat is still World Chat for both factions?
Yeah, World Chat is still... Yeah, they did not change the rules on World Chat.
Oh boy. So it's kind of
I'm
like
sure
in the
that's
Moors.
fun.
So,
Free
yes.
for all. Pass.
Yes, World Chat is not going to be a place where you're going to be giving private information about plans of your faction.
I mean, if you are, it's no longer private, so...
Yes. Yes. There is that. Also note that they quickly found out there were a couple of little AIDS abilities that were a little bit too powerful for their taste on them. Thus, they added special commands on the Bombadil server that would nerf these couple of abilities, and at the same time they said that in a future patch those will carry over to the live servers in a future patch.
That just cracks me up so much. I mean, they love those abilities when they can use them against creeps, but now you can use them against free peoples and they're OP. What?
Right?
Even the bears are overpowered. No,
Yes.
no, the bears are really overpowered. Nerf the bears.
Yes, that's the first one where they they have run a command on Bombadil to increase the cooldown of Bjorning healing skills Hearten and Composure from 14 seconds to 20 seconds. Additionally, the number of healing pulses for each skill has been reduced from 8 to 4. So yes, that's quite a nerf on that end. And also on the Guardian ability Flash of Light, as this ability was doing excessive damage, so they have
I'm
reduced the
really
damage
laughing over here right now.
Right.
Because it still takes... I was just running with 2 Guardians through Mordor Besieged, and they pretty much can't kill anything in the time that it takes you to ride from Dingarth to wherever they are. So I'm not sure how this skill is doing too much damage.
Red line.
Red line, okay. I don't know what line they were running in, but I definitely had plenty of time to traverse Mordor Besieged to get to them, and they had barely made a dent in the mobs that they were fighting.
They could not have been Redline, I would think.
Probably not
I have a
Redline
feeling-
at that point, but I'm still laughing.
Well, you got to remember is that I sometimes feel that way when I'm playing my warden. So I can understand that little problem.
Okay, yeah, because Wardens not played by Pineleaf are totally OP.
Well, yes. Okay, there is a point on that, but
And Guardians on the Moors can kill creeps. They don't kill each other because,
Well,
but
they kill creeps. They kill creeps slowly.
You just have more of a chance to have backup show up before you die.
Yeah,
You don't,
mostly they just can't
notice that they're there and then die, like champions or other classes.
then let's head into a little thing that they decided to do with the event schedule. They decided to add an encore for the Spring Festival. It is currently active and will remain so until June 28th.
Yeah, and I'm with all the people on the forums who are wanting to know why we couldn't have had like either Farmer's Fair or some Summerfest instead of an encore of spring. Instead of trying to mash those both together at the end of the summer.
The main thing is that they do not currently have time in which to implement the new rewards for the Summer Festival.
There are new rewards for Farmer's Fair though, so they could totally have done Farmer's Fair.
Well, Farmer's Fair at this time of the year is a bit premature.
I'm happy to have the fish slap emote back up for barter.
This is
so
true.
I can't actually complain about this.
I might be getting some fish slap. I mean, I might have to go run Terry to do festival stuff just so I can get her a fish slap emote.
I mean, it's becoming a necessary emote to have. So.
It's the ultimate emote for when NPCs are rude.
Right? Let me just slap you with a cold fish, you. NPC you, whichever one I'm talking to.
However many are in the area, depending on how upset you are.
Sometimes that's true.
I'm surprised that Lalia doesn't have scales on her face after all the times she's been fish slapped.
I'd feel more bad for her if she would let us, go get her cloak and lead her out instead of running into everything.
Ah, yes. There is that. Let's head into the LOTRO Beacon for this week, where we have LOTRO Beacon issue 165, where somebody is fighting one of the poodle wargs.
A poodle warg!
Yes.
I need that skin.
Poodle warg. I want that skin for my warg.
Yes.
You know what we need for wargs, for cosmetics, on a totally different tangent? We need, dyes. We need,
I want to be able to dye my coat bright purple! That would be so cool.
Maybe not bright purple, but they've got the different hide colors for the war steeds. Why can't we do that for our wargs and customize
it could be
the wargs a little better?
A normal color, and I could just change it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be bright purple. It would be cool to be a brown
so that you
warg,
don't have
or
all of the stripy wargs looking like all the other stripy wargs. You can actually personalize your warg a little better.
That would be really
totally
cool.
Customize our freeps with all this armor and cosmetics and stuff. We need cosmetic options for wargs.
Wouldn't that be cool? If you were a poodle warg, you could have, I mean, I know I'm, on a limb here, because there are no poodle warg skins yet for us, yet. But, you could color most of yourself a brown, and then you could have, a white mane and tail tip.
Right.
This would be really awesome.
Or be, white furred and then have black as your mane and tail, or a brown, or
right, or
a russet color.
My current warg
I want
skin.
scars.
Oh,
I want
scars would
that
be cool.
Scars.
Yeah.
You can have those on creeps. Why can't you have those on?
Yeah.
I mean, surely I've been in enough battles. I end up in the rose circle almost all the time.
That's what you had. Actually, scars should be something that you can earn like you could earn by the number of times you kill an enemy. They should have a new category called defeat, and if you get defeated enough times, you could buy scars. Now, I know it might encourage people to be defeated, which might be the reason why they might not allow it.
If you're
You
a
don't
creep,
need to
you're
be
going to
encouraged
be
to be
defeated.
defeated. It's just going to happen.
All you have to do is walk out the door.
We should have some. Yeah, we should have some sort of reward for going to the res circle continually.
Right? Or like being shot in the res circle because the keep flips as you come up.
Oh, yeah. Been there, done that.
Don't get us started.
I think that would be really cool, though. Ooh, and we could have different colored eyes, like red glowing eyes, or bright yellow eyes, or
green ones.
Or
I like
green
green eyes
ones.
for my work.
This would be so cool.
Green eyes for your ward. That's it sounds creepy, but I guess we're talking about wargs here, so creepy, I guess, fits.
I mean, creepy is kind of the way to go.
Only thing that I can think of that might cause this to backfire is if you were in the moors quite a bit, and so people knew exactly what cosmetic you used and knew how to target you more. But other than that...
But you could always change it up because it would be cosmetic.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're like, oh man, everybody's going after me because I'm a bright purple warg. So then you go back and you change it, and then you're a normal looking warg again, and everybody's confused. They can wear cosmetic armor into the moors now. We should be able to change up our look.
Yeah.
Let's enter the community spotlight, where Zarleon and the Harvesters of the Dark is hosting a party in their kin house on Crick Hollow on June 21st at 8 p.m. That is tomorrow from the day that we are recording this. You can join this at One High Road and Beercrest in the Bree homesteads. That probably only really benefit the people who are listening to this live or catch the YouTube version very early. And Summerfest 4 takes place later this month on Brandywine, and you can click there for details. And later this month, that would have to be next week then, if it's going to be significantly later this month. Yes, June 27th and 2020, that's 1 week from today. And that will start at 2 p.m. and go on until 9. Well, 9 p.m. is when the last act is scheduled to start. So it probably will go on until about 10 p.m. as a result of that. And that is on Brandywine. Now let's head to the Kin Hall. The kinship Brazilian Os Filhos de Urin recently gathered at their kin house for a group picture. Thanks for sending it. You can find this kinship on Arkenstone, yes, and I'm sure that completely butchered the name of the kinship.
Awesome picture. I love how they got everyone in there and framed it. So
it's totally a bank vault.
Pretty sure that's a stage on a Tallakul Kin Island. Because I think that's the same island that my kin is on. They have a stage like that. So.
Yeah, it's still a bank vault.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there are any differences between the various stages, but I guess the background could tell you which island it's from. And let's head into our weekly comment. What is the best thing about attending a wedding?
Leaving.
You know, I have a lot of trouble with this question because that's kind of my answer too. It's because you can't say the food, because like every wedding I've actually been to, the food has not been great, because you get either you find the cheapest option that you can feed everybody with and hope that somebody will be happy, but you know that really the only kids that are going to be happy with this food are like the little kids who don't care. And then I thought, well, there's the people, but actually, yes, you see people that you've never seen before or really had time to hang out with, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Like, I'm not a people person, so I'm like, just okay. And then you hear the stories from like whenever the bride and or groom and or both were like kids, and so you're talking 20 or 20 plus some years ago, and I get enough tales from yesteryear from the people that live in my house, so I don't need that going into a wedding. And you can't say the presents because the presents aren't for you. You have to find, there's the stress over trying to figure out what the heck you're going to give the lovely couple. Because yes, they've got the list, but all the cheap stuff goes first. So you have to figure out, you either chip in with somebody else to get them something really expensive, or you try to go outside the box and find something that you can afford that they're still going to maybe kind of appreciate. So the best thing about attending a wedding is being able to get the heck out of it when it's done. Or before it's done. Like, I start a timer, like, how long before we can leave. And in fact, the last wedding that I went to was 2 years ago. My cousin Tabitha, whose kids we babysit during the week, got married. And it was a lovely ceremony. Food was okay. But really, Mom and I were both checking our watches. How long till we can get out of here and go get drinking?
The answer to this question also sometimes depend on what role you play in the wedding or in whose wedding it is. Like, if it's someone that you really love and care about, then, it can be, you can have a different experience depending on that. Same thing with
Yes.
role. But I agree with Terry. Sometimes weddings can be awkward or painful. But some of them can also be really fun. Also, Dorlin in the chat says open bar. So there you go.
Well, I was saying one thing that I could think of concerning a wedding is like saying, like pretend you forgot the address of the location of the reception. So he's all the bad things you talked about so far sounded like they're at the reception. So.
Well, yeah, the actual wedding ceremony is usually, so if you have an indoor wedding, you're stuffed in there with a bunch of people that you probably don't know. If you have an outdoor wedding, you have to deal with the weather, the insects probably, the other things that come with weather. Yeah, no, passed. And in LOTRO, we're probably going to have to collect a bunch of flowers beforehand, so yay.
But at least the flowers aren't going to give us, like, an allergic reaction. I mean, it would be... Yeah, I'm glad
This
my
is
character
true.
doesn't suffer from any allergies that I know about. Doesn't seem to have asthma. Doesn't get in a crowded room that's really stinky and pass out. Like, this is pretty cool. But,
Yes, there is that. So it looks like pretty much the consensus is that best thing about attending a wedding is either A, leaving, or B, ducking out of the reception. One or the other. Pick your choice. Then let's head into the fan site news, where last week we found more storage. And in the Shire Fest took place last weekend on Laurelin. You could watch the video of that on Twitch. Bloodborne will be doing a month-long adventure on the new Bombadil server, and you could check to see the announcements there. And that reminds me that during Cordovan's stream this week, he went onto the Bombadil server, but because he was busy all the last couple of days of the week, he was running the intro there. So he says, don't worry, he'll try to get to level 10 by next week so that so that the players can have fun ganking him when he gets on. Then on LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Errant Chronicler heads to war. French Girl Gaming has an adventure, and Too Old to Game reforges a fellowship. Also on Twitch, Tux Ramus runs on the Linux. Parent Skeeks chronicles his journey, and Stomp83 streams day 93. And over on YouTube, Hunter the Shady explains why now is the time to play. The Rosage has a guide for beginners, and Drigotum's Gaming lends a claw to the Falcon Clan.
Grr.
Yeah, right.
Pull out
They'll
the
have
fish slap
salt.
emotes.
Oh, if
Link
anyone
and Dragon NPCs.
I personally think that maybe if there's anyone who deserves a fish slap more than Sarah Oakart or Lolly, it has got to be Lou Brady.
Yeah, he might deserve a whole slew of fish slaps.
Yes.
Oh, he
School?
deserves so much more than a fish slap.
Yeah, okay, you got a point there. He does deserve a bit more than a fish slap.
How about a flaming fish slap?
Well, yeah, I was thinking that if there were spikes on the scales of the fish when you give him the fish slap. And over on Mixer, Inbounds Cupid has hope. Gussie celebrates midweek, and Positively Evil has a Sunday morning coffee stream. And remember, all quests and raids are free until August 31st. And the usual. And our screenshot of the week is this week as LOTRO gets ready to celebrate the wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. We celebrate the civil wedding of Lilith and Quinine in game. The two fell in love in real life through LOTRO and sent in this lovely screenshot. Thanks for sending it in. You can submit your screenshot by sending it to contact@SandstoneGames.com. And that's it for the weekend for this week. So Terry Edwin, what's on sale this week?
Well, our weekly coupon is a plus 5% attack damage for 90 minutes. Coupon code is ATTACKUP, ATKUP, now through June 25th. And we get 25% off Virtue Acceleration Tome, Trait Slots, Skill and Slayer deboosts, now through June 25th. I wonder if those would help you over on Bombadil.
Maybe. Hopefully.
I mean, if you gotta do dating, get them done faster.
That would at least make them more bearable.
Well, there is that. Now, Noralyn says, one of my friend's wedding's reception got messed up, and it turns out that the cocktail hour had to be 3 hours long. Yes. So by the time the real reception started, let's say people were a little merry.
Well, they had some good stories come out of that one.
Or not, because maybe you couldn't remember them.
Yeah, anybody remember?
Yeah, it's more likely that.
So the best reception she attended had a mariachi band. That would be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Let's then head into our pick of the week. And Terry Adwin, it looks like you have a pick.
I do, because I was surprised this morning to discover my email had a notification that there was a new post up on Cosmetic LOTRO, so it may or may not be in the beacon later next week. But it is a post called Riverfolk, and it is inspired by the Hobbits of Lindleby, and it's really, really, really great.
Oh, yes, that is a really nice elf. Now, where are these rewards? from?
The
Let's see.
chest and skirt come from Lindleby, and then the shoulders are crafted, and hands and feet are the Holbidlin wraps from White Company.
And the
Oh,
Lindleby ones
they're-
you actually pick up in Limlock. I believe.
Yeah, they're protectors of Wilderland. So they're all rep partners, except for the shoulders. I love those shoulders. They are one of my most used shoulder pieces.
All right, then let's into our new player question. And what's the question for this week? Hello?
To talk. It's a thing. Sorry. This was partially inspired by Calabathian, but since she wasn't able to attend this week, I'm asking for her. So can you explain / describe a little bit more about what the Bilbo's birthday event is, such as what it is, how do we start it, how do we get it going? It's a 2-part follow-up, but this is the beginning part.
Yes, Bilbo's birthday event. Well, you do get a letter when you actually no, it's a pop-up quest when you first log in, which of course that's probably is what would prompt somebody to ask the question is, "Wait, what's this thing that came up here?" And if you want to run it, you need to head over to Hobbiton because of course that's where Bilbo is from.
Don't they send you to Rivendell first, though, which can be tricky
probably
if you're on a low-level
you're
character.
right. Yeah, you're
you have
right.
to go to Rivendell first, so you need minimum of level 20 so you can take the Gandalf port from the Prancing Pony.
Though I did discover that if you are brave and kind of know where you're going, you can make it at level 5. It's just really hard. And takes a long time.
I could
You
not
have to
even
run
imagine.
the whole way.
That's 4 levels better than a chicken. I mean, chickens can make it at level 1.
Yeah, but
Right.
chickens don't have the same aggro radius that
And chickens can't pick up the
characters
quest.
Yeah. So yes, you first have to speak to Frodo, and then Frodo sends you to the Shire. And you talk to various people with various stories. Essentially, they give you stories of what they believe happened to Bilbo Baggins.
They are so great.
Yeah, so they're all wonderful. And you go. Now, it used to be that the stories will pop as active and inactive, something like hourly or something like this. I can't remember what which meant that
they used to only have certain storytellers up at any given time, and it changed on the hour, so you had to go back through every hour to find out who was willing to talk to you and who wasn't. And thankfully, a year or so ago, they changed that so that now all of them are active all the time, so you can just go through the whole thing. Because it was really easy to forget about it, and then not complete it. And now I have several characters that have gotten it done. You get a bookcase and a title of the Chronicler when you finish, and it is fantastic. If you've never done it, you should totally do it because it's really, really great.
Yes, it is certainly not a high action combat one, but it has some really nice and funny stories. So therefore, there's a follow-up to this question?
Yeah, Calabathian wanted to know which of the stories about Bilbo were your favorite.
Well, I love the child story where the lonely is lonely, so Bilbo went to take it a new dragon that was nicer because it was. And talking about her poor sheep Petunia, which is very disappointing to me because I wanted to name my cosmetic sheep Petunia, but it wouldn't let me.
Oh.
Aww.
I kind of like the story where Bilbo flew off riding a firework, shooting across the sky.
I love the one where he is he took off to be apprenticed to Radagast, and he's like the smallest lore master ever.
We need Hobbit lore masters so badly. Even
Hobbit
if
lore
they have to
masters,
like
Hobbit
ride the
champions.
pets around.
Right.
But who knew that Galadriel was just like the penultimate, if not the ultimate source of knowing how to grow potatoes.
Right?
Depends on the gaffer. I think the gaffer
I mean, it
may
makes
be the
sense.
Any other favorites? It's hard. In my case, I would say the ones I can remember at the moment. Trouble is remembering all the stories since I haven't run it since last year's event. I would have to say the Lonely Mountain. Poor mountain. And then trying to see if there are any others that are. Oh, let's see. Dorlin says, "Love all the stories." Yes, that is, of course, loving all the stories. So it's hard to choose sometimes when you with all that to choose from. So let's head into our week in LOTRO then. Terry Edwin, what were you up to?
Well, Terry Adwin did another round of Chores for Bears. Stupid bears. I was not allowed to set an eagle on fire despite how annoying he was being, and he was being really, really annoying. And I thought setting fire to the
fish
eagle
slap
was the
him.
way to go. I did not fish slap him because Terry doesn't have the fish slap emote.
Well,
She just flat up regular slapped him.
Now the truth comes out. She was a fish slap emote.
And killed so many trolls. So I gotta tell you guys, I don't know who else goes around doing these stories and discovers that there's like a bunch of trolls that need killing. And the reaction to that is, yes, trolls! But that was totally what I said.
And then we killed them all.
Fryleaf can verify that was told. I was like, yeah, trolls! Yeah, so we killed lots of trolls, which was extremely satisfying. Despite the fact that it was a little bit strange because it's a place that I had been in before killing trolls and didn't feel the slightest bit all that threatened, really. But they kept telling me how dangerous it was and how I shouldn't go in there without making sure that there was some kind of distraction. And okay, I see your distraction and raise you one troll killing. Yeah. Oh, and I also discovered this place called Lindleby, but it's hobbits.
Hey now, fish slap.
No, Lindleby is really great, but I'm gonna let Sans talk about it because it's also in Sans' highlights. My elven minstrel Lawson Fan ran around with Celebathian's Morkandir to help him level up a bit. And I felt a little bad because she's over his level by like 7 levels. So she's running through stuff that's gray to her and it's like green to him. But then they finally made it to the Lone Lands and not everything is grayed out yet for her. But I still felt kind of bad because minstrel DPS versus burglar DPS, sometimes I was just yelling at stuff or playing the drum and it was dead before he got started running toward it.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
I know
we're in
about
an area.
that.
Yeah, fortunately, we were in an area where there's plenty of stuff to be killed. So, he still got to do lots of killing. And my burglar, Sarissa, finally made it into Osgiliath. She made it into the culverts. Now she's got to help rangers. So, Arendis, how about you?
My week was fairly light this week. I mostly decided that I didn't have enough hobbits in my life, meaning I only have one. I realized I only have one hobbit character, and it's a burglar at level 6. So I decided we need more hobbits. So I Aria'd a hobbit minstrel to 120, and took her festivaling and got a few new dance emotes. So that's pretty much been my week. Guarendis, how was your week?
Well, last Sunday was Festival of the White Lady, and I think everybody had an interesting time. It was a lot of fun to get to spend time with friends and kinmates and spend time in Bree. On Tuesday, I had a meeting with a very large dragon. Cinders and Sands introduced me to Etterfang because I needed to do that for part of the deeds up in the Arid Mithrin, and that was pretty awesome. Afterwards, we kind of fell into going about deeding, and my kin leader on Baldric had came along with us. And while going to look for treasure caches, which was kind of a little bit more like squirrel, we were hitting all the beacons in the Beacon Hills, and Cinders spotted the really big bridge and was very excited about it. And went up to the edge and was like, "Oh, isn't this cool? I wonder what it looks like from down." And all of a sudden, we could see defeated up in the corner. And the moment that made me laugh the most was Baldric doing the smack head emote in front of us. So yeah, that was hilarious. That was a great afternoon.
We
Questing
apologize
wise, we're in
very
this.
much for that, and
It was-
would love to quest with you some other time. Maybe in a more level area without so many bridges, but you know.
So anyway,
craning her camera and falling off of things.
Yeah,
trying
it
to
wasn't
see
the only
things.
bridge she fell off of. That was just the most monumental one, literally. There's still a lot for Gwendis to do in the last few regions she's been through, like, deeding. But I have started questing in Mordor Besieged as of yesterday. And talking about fish slapping, I spent some time fish slapping functionaries. Antamo got it from me pretty much from the get-go because he's just the only thing I loved about it was when you met Isildur's sons and Vaimisil said, "Yeah, I scoped him out right away. I made sure he didn't talk to my dad or my uncle." And I thought that was hilarious. And anyway, since Window, what did you get up to this?
Well, this week I did actually kind of a lot of things, but I went warging and with Cinders and Killabathian for a little bit, and we had some fun. Turned in some quests. I think I went out with Key too. But the time that I went with Cinders and Killabathian, we were turning in some quests, and we were almost at the time that we all needed to go our own different ways. We had about 6 minutes left, and we headed up to Grotham to turn in our quests there. And we got there, and Alf was outside the camp, and we're like, rats. So, we run into the camp, and of course the quest givers are dead. And we're like, well, okay. We weren't there in time to see the defeat messages, so, we're not entirely sure when they died, but we've got about 6 minutes. We can wait here till they respawn, finish turning in, and then we'll be done. We waited, and waited, and waited. We admired the stonework. We looked at all the different food sacks that we couldn't pick up. We ran in circles and howled at the moon. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it takes at least 10 minutes for the quest givers at Grotham to respawn.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really long time, especially considering the mayor comes back, right away if you go kill the mayor in Hobbiton, in the Hobbit village, for Hollow. So, yeah, that was really, really long. We had a good conversation, though. It was fun. But, yeah, those two quest givers, Bach and, what's his face? I made a note here because I wanted to get his name right. Let's see. Bach and Gasham. Yeah, they take forever to respawn. So if you ever get there and you're like, yeah, I've got 6 minutes, I'm gonna wait for these guys, unless a patch fixes this, don't. Unless you know for sure that they were killed 5 minutes ago, because you're probably not gonna make it in time. Yeah, that was a long wait. But yeah, we got to admire each other's warg skins, and it'd be so cool if I could change the dye of my stripe. Oh, that would be awesome. Okay. And then I almost finished Mordor Besieged with Cinders. And I reached Lindleby with Terry and Pineleaf this week. And I really love Lindleby. It is adorable. And I want to spend all my time there. And then I did some concert going and festivaling. Got to attend the festival with the White Lady. And then my nephew was really bummed that his computer wasn't working and he didn't get to go to the concert that we were at or be part of the parades and see all the cool horses and stuff. So on Monday, he's like, "Aunt, please take me, please. I need to see a concert. Where's a concert? Are there concerts on Gladden tonight?" I was like, "I don't know if there are any concerts on Gladden tonight, but there's almost always a concert on Landerval. Like, let's just go to the pony." And then I looked at the clock and I realized it was almost time for Ales and Tales, and I was like, I do think I know of a concert happening tonight. So I took him to his first official LOTRO concert. And he did really good. He made it through at least a full set of songs and a good part of another set of songs before he discovered the fish slap emote and decided that porting out of there so he could fish slap NPCs freely would be better than trying to stay there and keep dancing. But he did a really good job, and it was kind of fun because he was on a very distinguished looking dwarf, and doing a very good job, like, clapping along and stuff, but he also had his emotes screen up and was noticing, like, what all the emotes other people were using were, and how he could get them, and trying to figure out, like, how to get the best emotes. And then he set up his own mini concert, which was also a mini game of Find the Dwarf playing music in Thorns Hall, which was pretty fun. So
I was honored to attend that event.
Yes, and he was very thrilled.
Even if I did end up dragging him and he decided we had to go to the festival for that.
Yes.
Sorry.
So then we took him to the Spring Festival and he got some dragon. Which I think was the longest he's ever followed a quest chain too. Which was pretty cool. So yeah, that was my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
And I'll begin with my Capped Warden, who, when I say my Capped Warden, I'm talking about, I have two Capped Wardens, so I guess it would be I was specifically talking about my Crick Hollow Warden, who made it to a nice looking village in the new area, in other words, Lindleby. So now I have two wardens up there now, because as they said earlier, my Landrival one also made it there this week. My Stout Axe finished up with the Stout Axe storyline in Moria, and there was this brief moment when I thought that someone finally recognized me as a Stout Axe instead of another dwarf or something like that. And that this was an elf, because she asked me, did I come along with the host, or am I a resident of Mordor? Which, to me, would be a fair question to ask a Stout Axe. But I forgot that, oh yeah, she says that to everyone.
Why?
Well, yeah, she might have a different line of text to a high elf, but yeah, that's her standard spiel to most characters. It's the one that after you are thrown out by this, I guess they're the fire horns. Fire horns. There's these elves that are looking out in that area, trying to look for the elf that disappeared during the high elf intro.
Well, I will tell you that she doesn't recognize Mirkwood elves as not being maybe somebody who would live there.
Right. Yeah, you'll think that
maybe she was nearsighted.
Yeah, she's a bit nearsighted. But I had forgotten what her text was on there. Thus, for a moment there, I was thinking, hey, maybe she actually recognizes me as one of the dwarves from Mordor. No. She says that to everyone. Oh, well, so much idea. So I went through the entire storyline for the Stout Axes, and nobody, absolutely nobody, recognized me as anything other than either a dwarf or a generic person at all. The only time anyone mentions Stout Axe is if it was place name here, one of those cases where it's a place race name here. Which was always strange. And how come the generic people with the generic lines of place race here seem to always get your race right, but everybody else, no, treat you like a regular dwarf. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, and I have a feeling I'm not going to be playing too much further with that character, at least not in my video series, because I decided, all right, fine, I created this character for the storyline so I could see what changed with the Stout Axe in the storyline, and my answer to that is not one word is the answer to that. That's the conclusion I came to on there. Then on Friday Night Fights, we had a new player there who had a high-level character, somewhere in the 120s or something like this. So it was a higher level character, so he was playing with the upper group in here. But he had actually done this all solo. He had never grouped up before. We therefore decided to introduce him to Fellowship quests by running first the Defense of the Prancing Pony, then breaching the Necromancer's Gate, then finally the Bells of Dale. Now, for the Bells of Dale, the first boss fight was probably one of the roughest runs I've ever recall having of that first boss, because that first boss can be a rough one there. Then we get to the final boss, and I think it was the cleanest final boss fight. And we had someone here who'd never done it, but that was a perfectly clean one. The boss was killed reasonably quickly. You only had the protection, the absorption thing come up at the very beginning, and it came up no other times during the battle. None of the rats came through. It was just a perfect run of that boss fight. Because I was going into that boss fight thinking, oh, this is going to be a complete disaster, right? Nope. It was not anything like a disaster or anything like that. And even stranger was that I'm trying to tank this. Well, okay, we also had a Bjorning there. I think the Bjorning decided that he was the tank instead, which, all right, if the Bjorning wants to take the hate from me, fine. He could enjoy his last
Don't
few
argue
days.
with the OP bears.
Yes, yeah. He can enjoy his last few days with the OP healing skill, right?
That's right. Let him have it while he can.
Right. And that was it for my week in LOTRO. Let's head into news beyond LOTRO. And we will begin with a little bit of sad news, and that is that Ian Holm, who played the role of Bilbo Baggins in The Lord of the Rings and in The Hobbit, has passed away at the age of 88. And in celebration of his life is the reason why they reactivated Bilbo's birthday party, despite the fact that it's nowhere near September at the moment. Anyone has anything they wish to add before we continue?
No, we're good.
Very well. So farewell, Ian Holm. Then next, we have an entry by Darren Loremaster, which is his latest one, Ori's Journal. We can't get out. We can't get out. I hear the never-ending shout of orcs and trolls and goblins bay for our heart's blood. We die today. For 5 long years we dwarves have braved Moria. Our hard labors saved all that we could. A while it seems that Balin's highest, fondest dreams would be accomplished. Under stone a dwarf king reigns again. Unknown to us, foes send the word around and rally their force underground to retake all they stole before. King Balin to the windy shore of Miramir went to commune. Orc arrow slew him. What a boon to die so quickly! Then did we a sortie make and hurriedly cut our way to Balin's side and carry him away. He died within our arms. We buried him at Mazabul's stone chamber. Grim was our state. The orcs advance in overwhelming numbers. Chance we took. To doors of Hudurin sped, before our enemies we fled. Too late! Too late. The doors were blocked by Warden of Evil. Flocked black orcs from Mordor. We retreat, pursued by tramp of many feet of hostile forces. We did fight our way to the survivors might make their last stand. By Balin's tomb. We are surrounded. Certain doom awaits us. In Moria still no dwarf king yet can reign until Durin's bane is destroyed. I write the final entry. Constant fight and repulse for the past few days. We've slain many, but no ways remained for our escape. We die, but make the death price heavy. Nigh troll captains come, their war cries hail the next assault. Our strength must fail at last. I, Ori, indite this upon this journal's page. Amiss have we the Longbeard efforts been, yet with the eyes of death I've seen, Moria will rise strong again one day. Let other, younger men see that day. And now I am done. The final fight is now begun. Ori leaves pen and raises sword against the foul, advancing horde of orcs that smash open the door and through the breach run in to pour upon the dwarf survivors. They fought back to back and kill and slay so many orcs. Their corpses rise to form a wall. Their battle cries, Baruch Kazad, sound to the end, while every warrior might fend himself from death, an orc to slay. For every dwarf their foes must pay 24 orcs to slay each one. For bold is every Doran's son, and Ori too, he falls at last atop troll captain. So passed King Balin's attempt to reclaim Moria from the Durin's bane. The dead dwarves lie each as they fell, all Longbeard's bold, and all died well. Yes, I have a feeling that we had a comment from Lunar Stout Shield saying, men? Yes, that is the word that is used within the poem. They sometimes use the word men in a casual way. I think even Tolkien occasionally does use it in a casual sense also, as opposed to the race of man or anything like that. So I've heard it used in a more broad sense on occasion. And yes, that's apparent. So I think he used that intentionally because he couldn't come up with a better word to use there. But that is Ori's journal of the fall of Balin's attempt to reclaim Khazad-dûm. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And if you'd like to support us without joining Patreon, you could send a message to Drac at email drac@lotraplayers.com. And we actually received an email this week from Glambold. And what does Glambold say?
Glenbold writes, hoping you will mention the very sad news that Sir Ian Holm had passed away, which we did. Most listeners will be aware of him as Bilbo in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films. However, could you also mention that he appeared as Frodo in the 1981 BBC radio adaptation of The Lord of the Rings and gave a remarkable performance? He will always be Frodo for me. Glambold of Landreval.
I have that on CD. It's
Yeah. I do have the BBC radio adaptation to it, but usually when I listen to a radio adaptation, I listen to the Mind's Eye version instead. So therefore, he didn't ring the bell on me as being Frodo in the BBC one, since I usually listen to the Mind's Eye version of it. But thank
another
you for
thing
bringing
that
that up.
I was going to say another thing that our listeners might want to do is Peter Jackson put a very touching tribute on Facebook, and you don't have to be on Facebook to be able to read it. So it's
If you would like to write us, you could send your mail to podcast@lotraplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @Players Ally, Lotra Players @LotraPlayers, Erendis @Erendis, Pineleaf @PineleafNeals, Sanjwinda @Sanjwinda, Terryadwin @Terryadwin, Guarendis @Netashell, and Calabathian @Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 3 shows. On Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. On Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And we also have XP Quest, but that is at a random time. So you'll have to follow at XP Quest on Twitter to find out when that show goes live. So I should warn you that XP Quest is not Piney friendly. You can join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to socialize responsibly.